All right. Good morning. What's up? Instagram, what's up? What's up? Facebook, what's up? YouTube, what's up? Everybody driving in their cars right now, stuck in traffic. What's up? Welcome to episode 81, my friends. Shred Nation. How's it going, everybody? Are you guys doing all right here today on a Tuesday morning? I hope you're well. Hope you're ready to learn something today. We're going to talk about changing one thing at a time today, and how that can help you reach your fitness goals. So as you guys jump on, I want you to throw a flex emoji in the comments. All you livers, all you live people checking this thing out on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Being part of Shred Nation is a full contact participation event, folks. Come on now, let's go. We're going to be talking about changing one thing at a time today on this show on episode 81. Episode 81. Look at this. Look at all the people jumping on. Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Stick around to the end. There's a big surprise. There's a big secret. No, I'm just kidding. The reward is that I'm going to give you some free information today on how you can adjust your goals and continue to reach them every day. So welcome to the School of Shred. This is the show that's designed to help you shred your roll to make better your new. We're here Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. We have a Q&A this Friday. Ask any questions that you have today. We're going to answer those on Friday's show, okay? Our Friday shows typically go a little longer. I'm trying to make these like quick hits so you guys can get back to work because I don't want you to get fired for listening to the show, because I know that's how addicting Shred Nation can be, right? When we're on this thing. I want to respect your time. So good morning. Welcome to Tuesday. Welcome to October. Change one thing at a time. So this is something that is I've noticed over the course of just my training career, training clients, as well as myself, is we can track things better when we change one thing at a time. Okay. So, and what we're going to talk about today is exercise, diet, and then non-exercise calories. There's recovery. There's all sorts of different things that we can do, that we can troubleshoot when we need to on our program. But when we change everything at once, it's kind of hard to know what's actually working. Okay, so this is a big one. So the first thing I want to go over is that if you're on a program and you're trying to lose weight, we're going to take this as the example today. Okay, this doesn't have to be your goal, but this is what I'm going to use as a teaching point. If you're losing weight and then you plateau, so say you have a 10-pound weight loss goal, you're trying to lose 10 pounds, you get 5 of them off, and then you plateau. What we want to do is change one thing at a time and wait a couple weeks. Now, typically what I'll do with somebody is if they have a fat loss goal, they're trying to lose weight. A lot of times weight and fat come together because a lot of fat loss is going to come from inflammatory water weight. You're losing that first, which is a good thing. That's raising your blood pressure and your risk for atherosclerosis, so that we want the water weight to be gone. It's not a bad thing when your water weight goes. But anyway, if you plateau out, we want to look at, what can we change? Can we do one thing that's a simple task to see if that thing works? So we could simply take exercise, the exercise realm. So we can change your rep scheme. So if we want to make it more of a lactic acid type training to try and burn more calories, we can do that. What's not talked about, what's less talked about, is actually training with less volume to reduce inflammatory signals to the body, cytokine production and whatnot. So sometimes you want to do that. Like if you're in a training cycle where you're training super hard, you're working out all the time, you feel like your body's beat down, you're really grinding, it's all mental fortitude, you have a strong mindset, you're pushing through this thing, you might actually need to kick back a little bit and allow your body to flush some of this extra water accumulation and some of this edema that you have. So if you ever have trained legs really hard, I'm sure most of you listening have, you're going to notice that, when you're really sore, your legs get stiff, you hold water, you might actually gain 2 or 3 or 4 pounds from a good leg day. That's edema. That's your body holding water. That's an acute inflammatory signal, which is a good thing. But if you're training really hard all the time, like every day, say you're on a month-long cycle where you're training hard, that's a good thing. But at a certain point, you want to kick back a little bit. All right. You want to kick back a little bit. That can help reduce inflammation and get you back to the burning that you want to, get your body back into a state where it can actually use fat for fuel and it's no longer stressed out. Okay. So we can change our rep scheme. But sometimes we need to train a little harder. So sometimes we could go up and do like supersets at like 15 reps, or if you're doing body weight workouts at home, you can do supersets or like circuit training. If you're tolerant to that. So, and then we can adjust volume. So weekly volume. Volume is sets times reps times weight. Okay. And so it doesn't have to be weight. So if you're doing, say, push-ups or squats from home, you can also alter this. You want to try and alter this thing to where you progressively overload over time. So you bring volume up. Overall weekly volume is what we're looking at, folks, not just daily volume, weekly volume. So you bring that volume up and then you can bring it down. This can help you change one thing at a time and actually know what's going on. This is separate from anything else that you're doing. So if you're eating 2,000 calories a day or whatever, you have a set meal plan, you're doing the mono method is what we teach at the School of Shred, which is not a calorie counting mechanism because we're focused on hormonal stuff and make it easy on you. But if you're using any of those, you keep your calories the same while you're troubleshooting the exercise portion to get back on track for your goal. And so the next thing we'll talk about here is diet. So with diet, if we're going to change some things, we could look at macronutrient consumption. So we could look at macro intake. So if we're looking at proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, say you are tracking macronutrients, you're weighing your food, you're trying to hit your body weight in protein every day, you're trying to get 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight, and then the rest is carbohydrates. So you plateau. What do? Well, you can try and pull 250 to 300 calories just to see if that can kind of get you a good response to keep losing the body fat. That's a place that I'll start. Sometimes I will, try to get a client, or I'll do to myself. I'll have a higher carb day where I'm eating like yams, sweet potatoes, and some rice, and try and kickstart leptin. Again, this is for people who are lean, because if you're overweight, you're going to be leptin resistant, where your brain actually doesn't take in that information and it actually doesn't regulate the appetite like it should and regulate the fat burn effect. So that's the weird thing, is if you're overweight, you have higher leptin. Leptin is associated with your body basically allowing fat to be burned as fuel. The issue is that when you're insulin resistant, you're also leptin resistant. So that mechanism no longer works. But if you're lean-ish, it does work. So if you have, plateaued out, you can try a high carb day, double your carbohydrate intake, and then get right back on your plan the next day. That can work, but you're changing one thing at a time, and you want to see the result of this, because you want to start to learn how your body works. Your body might really like one really high carb day a week. Your body might really like doubling your caloric intake once a week. Your body might not like that. Your body might get inflamed from doing that. You might get super watery and take a step back doing that. So we want to know, like, what is the one thing that I'm doing that I can go back to next time I plateau, or I reach a point of stagnation in my program, and see if that works again. Now, you're not always guaranteed for the same thing to work all the time. Every time you go to troubleshoot, it's going to be a different story, because you're a little bit older. You have a little more experience. Your bodies could be a little more resilient to things that you want it to do. But by keeping record of the one thing that you've changed, you can start there. You can start your troubleshooting efforts there and then move on. And then the other thing in diet is you could change food sources if you're going to change one thing at a time. So say you got macros are the same. You're eating whatever, meat, vegetables, fruits. You have all, if you're going to count calories and macronutrients, you have your numbers out. If you're not counting calories, you basically have what your plate looks like, that rough estimate of, you have the meat, the vegetables, the carb source, whatever it is for you. You could rotate food sources and see how that does. A lot of times we can have foods that are inflammatory to our gut, and they cause gut permeability. And they could be deemed healthy by society. I had a client, I talk about this a lot, I use it as a teaching point. I had a client that had an allergy to, or not an allergy, but an intolerance, a food sensitivity test done, and found out that she was getting an inflammatory response from bananas. I think we'd all say that bananas is pretty healthy, right? This is why we can't speak in indefinites, you guys. We cannot say that something is healthy for everybody. Okay, it's unethical. It's unethical to just make blanket statements about food. It's unethical to make blanket statements about exercise. I try to do a good job on this show of quantifying it, because it can be kind of hard when you're talking on the internet. But just know that. So because depending on where you're at, you might have a sensitivity. It might be a gut health issue. However, as you repair your gut and you find the food sources that are not causing inflammation, as time goes on, you might be able to reintroduce those foods again. There's no reason you couldn't do that. So just because it's not good for you now doesn't mean it won't be good for you in the future. Just because it's good for you now doesn't mean it'll be good for you in the future. You see what I'm saying? If you catch my drift. So change one thing at a time. The next thing is going to be NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So you have different ways that your body burns calories. So for my own recollection, I'm writing this down as I'm doing this. So you have your basal metabolic rate. That's the calories that you burn at rest. Okay. You have your thermic effect of food, which is the TEF. That's how many calories you burn digesting, assimilating, and absorbing the food and the nutrition from the food that you eat. You have your exercise activity, okay, your EA. So those are all the calories you burn when you are exercising, right? Then we have this little neat word called NEAT. Okay, we've talked about this before, but we need to start acknowledging this because this is what's crippling our society right now with diabetes. One of the things with diabetes and just many different things, back issues. I get a lot of people with non-contact back injuries, meaning it's like a sitting injury from being at their desk all the time. Walking helps this. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis helps this. So that's like doing yard work. It's going for a walk. It's all these calories that you burn. They're like passive calories. They're not these, you're not actively really trying to do this stuff. It's just what happens when you're like walking from the parking lot to the grocery store. So you can pick these up. And I want to share something with you. This is something that I did a teaching on in my class last week. Class 101, baby, at the School of Shred. Shameless plug. If you guys want to get in on November, we got 9 spots left for the November class, the School of Shred. You get weekly live trainings. One of the trainings I did last week, I'm going to share with you right now, was about steps. So why do we start with steps? Because my students at my school, they get a mandatory step count. And so the mandatory step count is going to be, I'm not going to tell you what that is at school, but here's just some food for thought. 2,000 steps is roughly 1 mile, roughly, right? Depending on how tall you are. If you're 7'5", your steps are going to be a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But you got 2,000 steps, 1 mile. That's about 100 calories. So we're just going to speak in generalities here. So just hang with me for a second, because we could split hairs, obviously, right? Depending on where you're at. There's a lot of moving parts, but hang with me on this so you can get the idea here. So 2,000 steps is 1 mile. That's 100 calories burned. If you take 10,000 steps a day, you guys, that's 5 miles of walking. Also, that's what has been documented that our ancestors did. They were highly active. They didn't always lift heavy things like we like to think about, like, soldiers like myself like to try and push on people. Resistance training is super good for you, but the reality is you can be super healthy and not be overboard about lifting weights. Like it's about activity though. You can't be lazy either. You can't sit down all the time. So 10,000 steps equals 5 miles. That's about 500 calories a day. Now, if you have ever heard of this little thing of 3,500 calories is a caloric pound. So, and the math on this has been, it's an interesting, deep debate of discussion, but we're going to go ahead and use their teaching points that are in all these textbooks. Okay. So 3,500 calories is a caloric pound. If you want to lose a pound a week, you want to basically take away 500 calories a day from your diet or your exercise or both, right? You could burn 250 calories from your exercise, or you could, and 250 calories from your nutrition, you could pull out, right, to be in a deficit, or you could just do 500 extra calories of exercise or pull 500 calories in your diet, right? Well, check this out. If we divide 3,500 by 7 days in the week, that's 500. What did I just say that 10,000 steps a day will do? It's roughly 500 calories a day. You multiply that by 7, you have your pound of fat loss a week. There you go. Now, is that equation perfect? No. Do I really even believe in that equation? Not really after all these years, but it is interesting to note that this non-exercise activity thermogenesis could really be the secret to not killing your nervous system while burning calories and picking your metabolism up. There's only so much hard exercise that you can do every week. The rest of it should come from general movement. We sit far too often, like I'm doing right now. Like you can see me just sitting here at my desk. So those are some ways that you can change one thing at a time. So don't change all of those. You just listened to a lot over the last 15 minutes. Don't change every single one of these at once, okay? If you're a go-getter, good for you. But the thing is that if you try to do too much and you spin off, then a lot of times what happens is people quit. So if you change one thing at a time, you're going to know what's actually working, which is the most powerful thing. What's actually working, and you're not doing busy work. I don't like giving people busy work. I am a huge fan of getting my clients to maximum result with the minimum effective dosage, the minimum amount possible. I have clients all the time that want me to do more for them, but they're losing weight. They're losing 1% of their body weight a week, or they're gaining if they're trying to gain muscle. And they're like, hey, what can we change? I'm like, dude, are you on track to reach your goal? Did you lose 1.5 pounds last week on average? Yeah. Then why do you need anything different? We have to change the way we think. If you're getting the result, you don't have to change anything. Sometimes some people got to troubleshoot constantly. Some people don't. So change one thing at a time. It might just change your life. That's episode 81. If you guys got any questions, go ahead and ask them. We're going to go over them this Friday in the Q&A Friday. As I look here at the comments, we got let's go. We got no skipping leg day. That's right. We can't be skipping leg day, man. But when you get leg day going, you might have edema where you're holding water. So don't trip out if you're gaining weight after a hard leg workout. So you guys have an awesome day. That's episode 81. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in spirit. Stay determined in your pursuits today, school. Until next time, class is dismissed. If you guys are interested in joining the School of Shred Online Health Academy, go to theschoolofshred.com. You can sign up right on my website. You're going to get a membership site. You will be onboarded over the next 3 weeks. You'll be shipped your starting package, and you'll be totally hooked up and loved on until we start on November 1st. So go to theschoolofshred.com or www.johnreedfitness.com. They go to the same spot, and you can sign up today and get coaching from me personally. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.